Well, good morning. It was a cold night, but we slept great. Stayed warm up in the tent. And now we're trying to reposition. Back there, where all of that, you can see some clumps of snow and that mud, was where that gazebo tent was. It's just mud throughout. So now it's over here, kind of out of the way. We're trying to reposition everything. We're going to move the trailer a little bit forward. We just got to find gravel and not mud, because pretty soon we're going to put a ground tent out here when the Hummer goes into the shop, which I figure it'll probably be in there for about a week. And so we grabbed a ground tent off of Amazon. We're trying to make space for everything. And we got a break in the rain, thankfully. It has been raining all morning. Oh, it's 36 or 38 degrees maybe and raining. So another great morning in Larkspur, Colorado.
Good morning. We have survived 3 pretty brutal days. To wake up this morning to sunshine, and it's already pretty warm. I think we're supposed to be in the 60s today, so we're going to use today as a time to kind of recuperate, get things reorganized and cleaned up, because it's a mess from the way it's been around here.
So I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm wearing shorts. It is that nice today. I think our high is 60 and the sun is shining like crazy. So it's really beautiful. We're taking advantage. We're getting a little bit of sun, which is nice. And gonna get some work done here. I'm gonna try to get our max tracks mounted. Got a propane tank I want to mount back here on the trailer. We are gonna figure out some Rotopack mounts. And one thing we've noticed, we got to work on the Hummer. Every time we start it up around the engine, we smell fuel. Either it's running really rich, which maybe, but it seems like it's more at the engine than the exhaust. So I think there's a fuel leak. And our mileage is really, really bad. I mean, really bad for Hummer standards. And even really bad for supercharged Hummer standards. Our mileage is really bad.
So today we went and bought a new tent, a ground tent, because the Hummer is going to go in for work here in just a few days, and we want to be able to get moved into this tent, get the Hummer ready to go. So tonight we're going to set up the new tent. It's like a 10 by 10, and move on in. We decided to get this tent because we're not really sure how many days it's going to take the Hummer in the shop. And so we didn't want to pay, $120 a night for a week or however long it's going to take. So we bought this tent because we're already paying to stay here, and this was definitely the much cheaper route to go. And this is a pretty good tent. I think it'll keep us warm and we'll be comfortable for the time that we're in it.
Yeah, it's a 10 by 10 and 6 feet tall, so you can stand up, change clothing and everything like that. So I've always been a fan of these dome style tents. And like years ago, we started camping, overland style camping, on a Mountain Smith. It was a Mountain Smith, I forget the model of it, but it was a big tent. And it was a dome style tent. And one year, we took a week and went out and camped out on the beach in California. And there were other people that were camping in tents near us, and they were in cabin style tents. And one night, the wind got crazy, and I think 3 out of 4 cabin tents were pretty much destroyed. We were helping them stake them down, do everything we could, tape up tent poles and everything, just so they could, when the wind died down, they could actually sleep through the night. Some people think they slept in their cars. But our dome tent that we had could care less. And that's what this style is. Not quite the Mountain Smith tent we had before, but it'll do just fine, especially in a windy place like this. So this is going to be home for a while. $100, we get a tent, and everybody else is just saying, hey, borrow my space heater, borrow my air mattress. So thank you, Joe. Huge help for us. And we're going to be living pretty good. This reminds us a little bit of last summer. Just a little bit. Hailstorm, rainstorm, and this is what our campsite looks like. There's a good 4 inches of water. No idea what's happening with our tent. If our tent is I'm hoping the tub is held up. If not, I don't know what we're doing to sleep. But you can see the water just coming down here. Running down from everywhere. It's washed out the campsite there. You can see it's just taken the earth with it. Absolutely crazy. We've had a lot of hail. It's like our solar held up. That's a good thing. And you can see the hail here. Oh, look, our tent got shredded. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, we got a problem. Our tent's going to be soaked inside because it's just, oh no, our tent is shredded.
So we got the tent set up for dinner. I'm going to make some fish tacos on the disco. Please excuse the mess around camp. We still are not completely organized. It feels like there's just not enough hours in the day, but we're going to stop working for now and we're going to enjoy a nice quiet evening around the campfire.
Well, quiet evening is in quotations. If you see back over here, over here, there were 4 RVs and trailers and trucks and everything camped there for the past like 4 weeks. And now they all moved out today, and that's I-25 traffic that we really hear a lot louder. So
yeah, they all moved up the hill. They were smart.
They moved up where it's quiet, but so quiet evening, meaning it'll be relaxing yet noisy. I don't know that I need those so much. I'll probably just go with the regular cottons. You gotta love the Bush Company awning. So I wanted to give you guys an update of what our plan is with the H3. Excuse the noise, there's a ton of traffic over there, so I hope you can hear me. So we're gonna kind of go through step by step what we believe is the right recipe to get this thing to stop running hot and to get it running like it really should be running. Step number 1. Back, I'm gonna guess it's about 2 years ago, maybe even longer, maybe 2.5 years ago, we purchased an entropy radiator. It's also exactly the same as the ECP radiator, or EPC, ECP, whatever. Entropy radiator. It came with 2 electric fans on it. The electric fans don't do the job on here. So, but what we're gonna do is it's a good radiator. It's the same width and height as the H3 radiator, but it's thicker. So that's the reason for getting rid of the clutch fan and putting in the 2 electric fans, because it's just thinner. Not enough CFM. We're not moving enough air. So what we're gonna do is take this radiator out, because down here on the sides, it doesn't cover the whole gap. So we got air that can come around the side here, come around this side over here, and go down through the bottom, because this radiator is not covering it. This has the entropy electric fans on it on this dual pass radiator. It's just not doing the job. So we'll put on the wider radiator, and it's longer than this one is, with the entropy, and then we're going to stop all of the air from going around. If we have to do some duct work, we're going to stop the air from going around and under the radiator. Because one of the things that some guys that have been advising us through this process, he said, look, the air and the wind in the front of the vehicle is going to follow the path of least resistance. There's greater resistance to cram air through the fins of a radiator than there is for it just to go around and go under. So when we get up to highway speeds, this thing starts to overheat, probably because the air is not running through the radiator, it's just running all around it and underneath it. So we're going to solve that problem. So next, we're going to get rid of these electric fans. There's 2 of them down there. They're going to go. And we're going back to the clutch fan. We're not doing the stock clutch fan. A bunch of you guys recommended get the severe duty clutch. It's a clutch that, I'm not sure exactly what it does. I think it starts triggering at a lower temperature or at a greater amount at a lower temperature, lower speed essentially. So it's going to move more air sooner and more often than the stock clutch fan. Now the next thing, we've tried to find the original Hummer H3 Alpha fan shroud. The deal is, it doesn't exist. We saw one on eBay that was kind of cut up and trimmed up, and somebody bought it before we could confirm that was actually the right product. Other than that, nobody has an upper and lower shroud, at least that they're willing to sell. So our buddy Randy at Cyker Fabrication is going to have to now take pictures and diagrams of the stock shroud and rebuild one out of aluminum. In addition, the stock OEM fan blades are not available either. But Dorman makes what I've been told is a pretty good copy of the original, maybe almost even original spec or identical to it. So we're going to go with that. Okay, so up next, front of the radiator. This is where it gets a little more complicated, I would say. Because of the supercharger on this engine, we have an intercooler up here. The intercooler is 7¼ inches by 24 inches, I believe it is. So it's really covering a big majority of the radiator. So now we have an 1¼ inch deep intercooler stopping air from going into the radiator for the engine. And it creates an additional wall. Of course, the way it's currently set up, that wall is just pushing air around the intercooler even, and around the sides, and then of course underneath. So the air isn't making it where it needs to go. So we're going to take that intercooler and we're going to put it all the way up under here, underneath the splash guard. All right, so up underneath we have this custom fabricated splash guard. This is not original. We're probably going to have to bring it a little wider. I'm not sure. We'll have to measure it and see. But we're going to put the intercooler under here with a couple Spall pusher fans on it. Pusher fans? No, puller fans, sorry. A couple Spall fans on here that are going to then pull air from essentially the front and draw it toward the engine. So we want to draw any air down here up toward the engine, and hopefully we can keep that intercooler temperature down nice and low. So another thing we have to figure out on the two fans for the intercooler is, how are they going to be powered? Are they going to be ignition driven so they're always on when the engine's on? Or can we program them through the computer and have them triggered on by temperature? I'm not really sure. We'll let the tune guys figure that out. The other thing we're going to look at is the snorkel that we have right here. This snorkel is for the inline 5-cylinder. It's not for the V8. It's certainly not for the V8 with a supercharger and the other engine modifications that have been done on this. Not at all. It's not adequate for the air. This little indicator right here, anytime we drive it and get into the gas a little bit, the indicator, that orange line, goes straight into the red, telling us that the filter's clogged. But the filter's perfectly clean. It's just starving for air. So that's secondary. Problem number one is control the heat here. We're not going to even mess with the snorkel if we don't get the heat under control. And another thing we want to do, a bunch of you guys have said hood vents. Hood vents have helped you with towing, helped you with heat conditions, have helped you with modifications you've done to your H3 Alpha particularly. And what we've been recommended is to go up and cut out these kind of triangle sections, and maybe that one too, I'm not sure, all of it, and then vent the heat from here out through here, putting in louvered vents, or maybe we would make something that looks kind of factory that would allow heat to escape. Not really sure, but some of you have given us actually hardcore temperature numbers based upon hood vents, and I get it. Heat's going to rise and it's going to go up through those vents, and I think that might be something we're going to look at doing. It's not going to solve all of our problems, but if that's the one little modification we do that takes us from good to really good, I think that's where it might be.
Good morning. Today we are out for a hike. We are in Castlewood Canyon State Park. We've never been here before, but there are, I think, over 12 miles of hiking trails. with beautiful canyon views. So we're gonna go see which hike we're gonna do and see this gorgeous place.
Down in that reservoir area back there, there are wild turkeys and cows living down there.
How beautiful is this? What a gorgeous place. Can you make it across here, Natalie? Here, hand me the camera. This place is so beautiful. All right, go ahead. Hop on across, baby. And
Can't do it.
and
What if I fall?
don't fall. Okay, hold that, please. Okay, here we go. Perfect. What do you think? It's beautiful, right?
It is. It's gorgeous.
How peaceful and calm. And the people that own, here, let me switch back around.
Wow.
The people that own that, what is it called, Natalie? Centennial
well,
Ranch?
No, it's been named a Centennial Ranch.
Oh,
meaning
okay.
It's been owned by the same family for, back in 2000, it was 140 years.
So Centennial, they've named a Centennial Ranch, owned by the same family for 140 years as in 2020. So that's over 160 years now.
Yep, 165.
And that used to be underwater, and I guess it's their ranch now. I don't know how they ended up.
No, that family is the one that built the dam. You'll
What?
see the dam.
Okay, we got to go check that out. Meanwhile,
that made the reservoir.
Meanwhile, this is just gorgeous. I mean, if we could just drive our rig up right here and camp, we could stay here for a long time and never get bored or tired of looking at it.
No, it's so pretty.
Can we make it up through there, Bailey?
I'll try.
Let's see. Oh, the water's getting deep.
Oh, it is.
I don't want to end up soaking my shorts. But man, this would be a great place to just like lay out on a super hot day.
Yeah.
The high's supposed to be near 80 today, but we're not there yet. Don't know the temperature of the water, but it's pretty cold, certainly more than I want to lay in right now. Especially not wearing anything that will dry today.
So what do you think of this hike so far?
It's really good. I really
Yeah.
like it.
This is really pretty. I've never seen this part of Cherry Creek. Only seen where, it's kind of closer into downtown. It's really kind of cool. This is a creek that flows from the south to the north, which that doesn't happen too often. Most rivers flow north to south. So this is a really neat area. It's so beautiful out here. We're having a great time. So right behind me is what's left of the dam. You can kind of see it off over here that caused the reservoir down here in the valley. So we're going to take this trail and go kind of up near, see it a little bit closer. All right, so this little path leads us down to the bottom of the canyon at the base of the dam, and then we kind of come back up and we can get up level with it.
I'm now approaching the base of the dam here. Check it out, this is really cool. So there it is up there. I'm gonna say the base of it, I don't know, maybe it's like 20 feet across and then it just tapers and gets more narrow as it goes up. How cool is that? And it looks like it's just made out of some kind of concrete and the natural stone that they dug up from the terrain around here. Construction began on the dam and it ran for 11 months. So they built it in 11 months and it opened in 1890 to, Natalie said, 1933. So it's a pretty good run for a dam built by a husband and a wife who were homesteaders and some crews that they hired to get her done. And the wife's name, as the reservoir was named, Louisa, or just Wheezy. We just call her Wheezy.
I thought anybody here called her Wheezy.
So this reservoir surface area was 200 acres and it sent a 1.7 billion gallon 15-foot tall wall of water right into downtown Denver. Crazy. All right, Bailey, come take a look over here. Tell me what that construction looks like to you.
It's like pyramid style.
Aha! That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. Natalie, what does that construction look like to you?
Pyramids.
Boom. That's exactly what Bailey and I thought. We've done a lot of studies on pyramids all over the world, and that looks exactly the way they built pyramids. Or at least some of them, not all of them, but certainly some of them.
Yeah, definitely stair-stepped like a pyramid.
And I thought the base went out like 20 feet, but I think it's way more than that.
Yeah.
I think the base is out like 30, 40 feet maybe. All of that just providing resistance to that wall of water.
Well, but what's interesting is that's what gave way. The
Yeah.
bottom.
The bottom is what gave way?
That's what it said on there, yeah.
Oh, the bottom gave way and then it just took everything out from.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they built it on this essentially bedrock slash lime or sandstone.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the
Yeah.
sand over there.
Yeah, so it eventually, because you can see from the bottom side where I hiked, you can see the bottom of the dam and you walk way below it.
Well, and from its completion, you can see on the side there, it always leaked.
Oh, I believe, because if you look at the construction, I'm thinking this thing was always seeping, and then the minerals and the calcium and different things like that were slowly patching those leaks, but that would probably take 100 years for something this big.
Yeah.
Cool. Beautiful. Yeah, you guys are doing something. Let's see if I can. So this is an old tube they had here that allowed them to control the amount of water on the other side of the dam. Oh man. And the air coming out of here is so cool. It's like straight up air conditioning. Awesome. Bailey, how's the air conditioning feel?
It feels so good.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So the area we're walking in now are on the section of this creek where the dam broke and the water headed in the direction that we were going. So this whole canyon here, I'm guessing, lost a tremendous amount of dirt that day, and tumbled trees and everything, and made its way into downtown Denver. So where we just were is the very top of the waterfall system. I'm about midway point now. There's still a lot more to go downstream. I'm going to see if I can hike back up the actual waterfall and get up to where Natalie and Bailey are. There's so many beautiful little falls cascading along the way. So we're on now what is called the Inner Canyon Loop. It's really beautiful. It's a little hard for us to appreciate at the moment because we're all pretty much exhausted. Bailey's really exhausted, and Natalie and I are pretty much spent too. I don't think we brought enough water. We weren't thinking the hike was going to be this long or that the day was going to be this hot. And we didn't bring any food with us. So we are really running low. We need to recharge our batteries, but we have about a mile left on the hike, and then we can get some food, get some more water. Is this the last of the steep stuff, baby?
No idea. I hope this is the end.
Today's a big day. This Hummer goes in the shop. If you have followed the story on this vehicle for 2.5 years, we have done a bunch of modification to it, probably more than we should have, or at least a different direction than we would have had we known then what we know now 2 years in the future, 2.5 years in the future. It's a supercharged Hummer H3 with the heads are ported and polished, some other mods to the engine, a 6L80 transmission has been put in, a new transfer case from Behemoth has been put in with a strong box doubler, exhaust modifications, auxiliary fuel tank, transmission cooler mounted underneath, just tons and tons and tons of modifications. Don't do this unless you have a lot of time to kill. So we are now taking it into the shop because it has been running hot for a couple of years now, and to the point we haven't been able to drive it. So now today we're going in with a whole new plan of the cooling system and the air system and everything. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fire it up. And by the way, I took it for a test drive last night just to make sure that we didn't have a sensor problem. And I used a laser thermometer and zapped right at where the thermostat is to make sure that what I'm seeing here, 221 degrees or whatever on the dash, I'm seeing the same thing down there actually in the engine, and that is exactly the case. So we don't have a bad sensor. We know we have a hot engine. So here we go. We're down in Colorado Springs at Syker Fabrication. We got our plan. We've changed it just a smidge, but I think we got a really good plan now. Let's check it out. Okay, we're inside now. Wanted to give you a full rundown of what the plan is. So first things first, we were going to go with that ECP Entropy single pass radiator. Instead, what we're going to do is use this dual pass that we have here, move it forward. So come take a look over there, Natalie. So this radiator, it's just slightly shorter in height than the ECP one. Everything else is basically the same. It's a dual pass, so we're going to get a lot more flow here. So this has to go forward so we can fit that mechanical fan back in there with the Super Duty clutch on it. Okay, so inside we're going to get this back looking factory, not because we necessarily want it to go back to factory, but because we need to. But I do like the factory shifter much better than this zero gravity one we put in that didn't ever work. So we're going to take this boot off of here. This is the factory boot. It's going to go back on. The guys at J&S installed the shifter here. They just didn't have the boot or the grip to mess with it. So we have our original grip and it's in storage somewhere, we don't know where. So we picked up another one. So that's going to pop on there with the original boot. That's going to look all factory again, which is actually really kind of nice. The next thing we have here is the tap shifter to go with the 6L80 transmission. And we're going to mount that. Current plan is to tuck all these wires back behind there, just mount it on the side, just put it on with some two-sided tape, which hopefully it will hold, because we just don't want to put more holes in the dash and all of this plastic work up here, because it just, but we'll see. We'll try it like that way first, because we're not going to really use this that often. This is more if we're on a trail at a specific part of the trail on a descent, when we need to stay in first gear or second gear, or if we happen to be on a climb and we want to lock it into first or second gear, that too. But other than that, this is not going to get used all that often. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the factory camera out in the rear, that backup camera. We tried to do an aftermarket one that punches right into the hole in the bumper, and they just don't work. They're not compatible with everything else around here. So we're going back to the factory one. Randy's going to cut the bumper, which we hate doing, but whatever. We're going to have to manage any rust that may happen from that. You know, we'll treat it and paint it, all of that good stuff, but it's not a powder coated surface any longer. But we're going to go back and flush mount this little camera, because what we did before, it was mounted behind and there was a circular hole and it looked like you were looking through a periscope. Well guys, thank you for checking out this video of SAR Trail. How you feeling, Bailey?
Tired and hungry.
Tired and hungry. I think we're all in the same boat.
Yep.
Well, pretty soon.
And hot.
Pretty soon we got two more things coming up for you guys. One is getting the work done on the Hummer to see if it's going to actually work out. And two, we're going to be going to Overland Expo West. We're probably just going to dip in for a day and kind of camp somewhere near. We won't be bringing our trailer. We won't have our Hummer, obviously. But we're going to do something a little bit different.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
See ya.